So before we begin the video, I'd like to mention the person that won the last giveaway. In the last video, I said that the person who had the funniest comment would be winning an Amazon gift card at an unknown price. Nobody asked. You definitely ain't winning that Amazon gift card. Get wrecked. The move that made Ninja cry. But anyways, the person that won the Amazon gift card is somebody who literally wrote an entire essay for this. So obviously he has to win this. If he doesn't respond to my email, I will pick someone else, but until then, he has won the gift card. Congratulations. Let's begin the video. So every video from 2017 till now has been shot on either some sort of iPhone or, this cyber shot, which I've used for like 2 videos or something. But that's good and all, but you know what? It's time to move up a notch. And we'll get into that later. So this video has been shot on the Canon EOS M50. And this is the first video that will be shot on something like a mirrorless camera or a DSLR. So after a long time of searching, I ended up ordering the Canon EOS M50. The video you were watching from the beginning till now has been using the Canon M50. But now that I'm holding the camera, never mind. But let me explain my decision. When you have an iPhone, the customization is pretty limited. But when you have a camera, in this case a mirrorless camera, the customizations are somewhat endless. So you can add lenses, adapters, speed boosters, filters, external mics, and 1,000 other things. So the theme of this video, as you saw in the title, is comparing the iPhone 12 camera, or a similar iPhone camera, which they're all pretty much the same, but this one is currently being shot on the iPhone XS, which is pretty similar to the 12 in terms of video capability, so we'll be using that one. So the theme of this video, as you saw in the headline, is comparing the iPhone 12 camera versus the Canon M50s, and we'll figure out how much of a difference there is between them. A $650 mirrorless camera versus an $800 iPhone. So the background currently is just a plain grayish background. So to add some more blur, we'll have to go somewhere else. And so obviously the background now is much more of a filled background. So you'll now be able to see where the M50 actually shines. And you might be thinking, well, the background doesn't look to have that much depth actually. Well, that's where the lenses come in. The lens you're using determines the type of look you'll get. So for example, the lens I'm currently using is the Kit Lens, and it's an f3.5, and it's a 15 to 45 millimeter lens, which is just a kit lens. So if you were going for a much more blurred background, you can go with like the Sigma 1.4 f1.4 30 millimeter, which is like I think like 280 or something. Which is a great deal. I've also linked that down in the description. Or you can go with the Sigma f1.4 to 16 millimeter lens if you like a more width or more of a wide angle lens. So on this side we have here the iPhone XS, and on the main camera we have the Canon M50. So even with the regular kit lens, I'm seeing a major difference in the quality, especially when zooming in. So if you see in the M50's video, the background is pretty blurred out. Check this box out. This box is blurred out, but on the iPhone, it's all pretty much the same, which when the iPhone released the portrait mode, the pictures are perfectly fine. They're blurred out and you can see the portrait effect or the depth of field. But the video is pretty much the same. So having a mirrorless camera, with an f3.5, you can really see the depth of field when you're recording, even in video. So this video is currently being shot at 1080p at 30 FPS, which is what I would go for if you were shooting one of these talking head videos. If you'd like to go for more of a movie type image, I would shoot at 24 FPS or 60 FPS for smoother videos, which if you're slowing it down by 2x would result in a 30 FPS video that is slow-mo. It's also really nice that this camera shoots in 4K 24, which does come with a couple of drawbacks though. One, it has a 1.6x crop, which sounds pretty bad, and it kind of is. But when you're doing a talking head video, it's not all that bad because, you can always just move back. Canon is very well known for having excellent autofocus compared to its competitors, which is a big plus for Canon cameras. So it just comes back to, if you're doing one of these slow movement type videos, then using 4K 24 might not be such a bad idea. But otherwise, I would stay away from it. Now speaking about autofocus, the Canon M50 has 3 modes for autofocus: dual pixel, single point, and zone. The camera can also lock onto someone's eyes if you're into that. Enough talking about the video though. Another thing that people are always looking into when buying a mirrorless camera or a DSLR is, well, how does it fare in photos? The thing about photos is that it's much more complicated, and there's a lot more customization that goes on into taking a good photo, unlike the iPhone where you just hit the picture button and it takes a photo. When taking a video on one of these mirrorless cameras, it's kind of like clockwork. You pick the FPS, and then you double the frame rate for the shutter speed, and then you lower the aperture, so this goes up to 3.5 aperture, that's the lowest, so the most amount of light. Then you pick the 3.5, and then you adjust the ISO based on the surrounding lights. So I have one lighting right here, and then we got another one right there, and then we got a small one up there. So that puts me at an ISO at 1000, which is, I think, evenly lighting the area. So I picked 1000. So that's all there is into a video. But on a photo, you have to manually adjust every single part of this. The thing with iPhone cameras or smartphone cameras in general these days is that they've gotten so much better lately that it's almost as if there isn't a major difference in between them. So, for instance, if you were to zoom into an object and get real up close to it, the iPhone and the M50 would look pretty similar, although the Canon is obviously much sharper than when zoomed in. The average person looking through WhatsApp's image compression after having the photo sent to someone will not notice this and would be pretty useless to most people. So here's a couple photos I took on the M50. This one here is the Ryzen 5 box, which immediately got vandalized after I left it out. But anyway, having the 2 photos side by side shows you that they actually look pretty close to each other, mostly due to the image processing that the picture goes through before, during, and after the picture is taken on the iPhone. The Canon M50, however, is able to capture that, which makes it so it doesn't have to smooth over everything to get a more crisp photo. So here's another photo that shows the bulb that is in focus, and the background is blurred out. On the iPhone, however, you can see the bulb's rays, and it's kind of like when I did the comparison of the iPhone video versus the Canon M50. You could see that the light over here, you can see the rays coming out, but on the M50, it's all perfectly balanced. And it overall has a much worse look to it. Most likely it's that the iPhone is trying to add more brightness to the picture, but the Canon M50 shoots what's actually there. So the next pictures are of testing night mode. So you see here that the iPhone surprisingly does really well because of the iPhone's secret weapon, artificial intelligence. And keep in mind that this is a photo that was taken in a room with barely any light, but it's able to capture the photos without being completely dark. But on the other hand, the Canon M50 also has a not so secret weapon, the flash. And once you look closer, especially towards the bottom of the picture on the sofa, you can clearly see the difference in the quality. But I gotta say, the iPhone 12's night mode is stellar, except you have to hold it down for like 10 seconds straight to have the iPhone capture the whole picture and process the image. Next, let's move on to video.
So let's quickly go through a couple of outdoor scenarios to show you the differences between the M50 and the iPhone 12. So here we can just see a regular sidewalk, and while they do both look good, the M50 seems to be out of focus a little bit, which is probably just how I took the video, and the iPhone overall has a little bit more stable footage. I'm guessing this is because of Apple's software, but that's not a big issue, as most people with a camera like this buy a gimbal, or you can just add software stabilization, either way. Next, we have a video of a regular basketball hoop, and here I can see clear differences in the videos. The M50 once again has much more of a cinematic look to it, and overall the colors look much better than the iPhones, which look overly yellowish and not actually the color of the grass. Finally, in this video we can see clear differences between the two videos. The M50 has blurred out the background of the subject, but the iPhone has just left the background relatively the same without much blur. and in my opinion, the M50 looks far better in this.
But obviously, the iPhone camera is really good too, especially for mid-level to beginners to mid-level range type of people. And I've linked the Canon M50, which was the way to go if you have a bigger budget and you're more professional. So I've linked the Canon M50 as well as everything else I've talked about in this video down in the description if you'd like to check that out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as we're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and please remember to hit that like button as well. Thanks for watching.